Okay, this video is about recording and quantizing in Cubase. So this is an empty session in Cubase, and the first thing you'll notice is these numbers up here. This is your grid type, and we need to change this when we're working in music to bars and beats. So I just right-click right here, bars and beats. Now let's zoom in, and you'll notice it's easily numbered. What these lines mean is very important. Each number represents a measure 1, 2, 3, etc. And then as we zoom in, we start to see more and more lines. Okay, so this is the grid. It's how music is organized. It'll make more sense in a second. So let's add an instrument track. We're going to hit Browse. We want to see this screen. We're going to hit, my screen looks a little different than yours, but you have 3 instruments. You have Groove Agent, Halion Sonic SE, and you also have Prologue. We're going to do Groove Agent. So we click that, add track. Now we won't hear sound until we go find a drum kit in this particular software. So even though it says kit 1, we don't hear anything. So I need to click up here in this black area, and there are a lot of genres for drum kits. Don't be overwhelmed. We want to click this reset filter whenever anyone has already searched inside of this and it's red up here. We need to hit this reset button over here. Okay, so I'm just going to click on something, double click or a single click, and it'll load. Now I'm going to test the sound by hitting on the music keyboard. There we go. Okay. We want to record our own drum groove. So the first way to do this is to right-click, release right-click on the draw tool. But before we do that, I need to turn on the grid up here. It's called snap. Snap and grid are the same thing. So the shortcut is J. Okay, this is very important. This is one of the most important buttons in a sequencer or digital audio workstation. So we're going to turn that on. And we're also going to set this to quarter note is fine. This is also very important. So we have the draw tool. I'm going to click and draw a 4-measure area. Okay, there's no notes in here. We're not going to hear anything if I hit play. Now I'm going to double click inside of this. Okay, so you see how the area that we drew is dark gray and the area outside of it to the left and right is light gray. Okay, so now I'm going to right click again, get my draw tool. And at this point, if I start clicking on something, okay, we'll start to hear sound. That's as if I'm playing it on the keyboard, but I'm just drawing it in manually. Okay, so if I wanted to create a simple drum groove, I would find a kick sound. I know it's on, I think it's C2. Nope, it's on C1. All right, and then I could duplicate this by hitting Control-D. Can move it around. Okay, and now I'm creating a simple drum beat. Okay, I'm going to right click again. I'm going to get the snare. Okay, so I can keep on doing this. In percussion, it's nice to have a pattern. Let's hear this. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now, if I wanted to draw a different resolution, you'll see what I mean in a second, I would click right here and I would change this to anything else. Now, typically, once you get really small, because everything divides by 2, it's easy to get lost. So keep it around a 16th note at the most. So again, if I get the draw tool, now when I click, I can fit 16 snippets inside of this measure. This is Music Theory 101 in action. Oh yeah, it's all about the quarter notes, the half notes, the eighth notes, but now it's visualized between measures, and the lines represent quarter notes, half notes, everything you may have learned or not learned in music theory. Okay. A few things. You'll notice the tempo is down here. I don't have to leave this at 120. It's 120 by default. I could change it to anything else. Okay, also time signature. Right now, leave it in 4/4, but if you wanted it to be something else, this is more of a music theory thing, okay? 3 beats in a measure, or do you want 4 beats in a measure? The top number is the most important, okay? The first number. Don't worry about the second one right now. 4 and 3 is typically how music is grouped. You could have more or less, but you would never really see anything like this unless you're doing some prog rock crazy time signature stuff. So typically it's going to be 4 or 3. Okay, so that's how I can draw something in. Now I want to do it a second way. I want to duplicate this track, and I want to record something myself without drawing it in. Delete both these things. Okay. So in order to do that, I need to turn on the metronome. Okay, if you don't see the metronome, it's going to be down here at the bottom of your screen. Okay, I just moved the screen over a little bit, and it's right here. The shortcut is C for click. So if I hit C, that'll go on and off. Without the click, I'm not going to know how to play. It's just going to be random. So I gotta hit C. Change this to 100. Okay. I'm going to play something very generic. Now, to record, I hit the asterisk on the numeric keypad, the little star. Okay. Now, I wasn't quite on beat, was I? So we need to fix that. This is one of the coolest things about this program is called quantizing, okay? So I need to ideally double-click, zoom in, and you can see how my performance isn't quite lined up to the beat. You see this? This needs to be here, okay? Now there's a way to do this to where you don't have to click and drag every note manually on the grid. It's called quantize. So I'm going to select all the notes. I can do it either here or just simply click up here. Now this is where this is really important up here, this 1/16th, again, 16th note, 8th note, quarter note, half note, etc. I'm going to choose an 8th note grid resolution and hit Q. Okay, the shortcut is Q for quantize. Now let's see what this sounds like. You should have noticed these shift around. I'm hitting Control Z. I can redo that. Redo move and redo quantize. Okay, they shifted. Let's hear it. Better. Okay, I'm going to undo that, and now I'm going to show you how you can quantize this on a different grid resolution. So I am selecting all of the notes, and I'm going to change it from 8th note to 16th note. Now let's see if this changes anything when I hit Q. Let's hear it. You see how much of a difference you heard in those two performances just based off of changing the grid resolution from 8th note to 16th note. It is a significant difference if you think about it in terms of there's 16 opportunities for the notes to move to the nearest line or 8 opportunities, and that's going to change the rhythm significantly. All right, so I can hit this X down here to get out of that screen. So that's how to record a drum groove, and sometimes it's fun to simply turn off the metronome, hit record, all right, so I turn off the metronome and I just recorded. Now, I can use Quantize to actually create rhythms for me. So if I choose a grid resolution at random, let's say 8th note, and I hit Q, let's see what that sounds like. Better than it was before. All right, so that's introduction to recording and quantizing with drums. Enjoy.